to your little town. Your little town gets told that you either play ball or you die. You want that money? Now this is a federally funded metropolitan planning organization, right? And it's federally mandated. This is where the federal transportation dollars get moved into the local areas. And they require sustainable communities strategies. They were on the President's Council on Sustainable Development, right? Department of Transportation. Yeah, so they determine who gets money, who locally gets money. Now this is where we get to you, right here, okay? This is Sustainable Places Project. Okay, have you heard of it? Yeah, okay. Now, all over the United States, over the last 3 years, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, that's a federal agency, right? Over the last 3 or so years, they give out $100 million a year. $100 million a year for sustainable community regional planning grants, right? They're not building anything. This is planning. These are those visioning meetings. These are those plans, right? That's what the money went for. So, that's, okay, so what does that mean? It means in 2010, HUD gave $3.7 million to a so-called consortium of CAPCOG, Capital Area Council of Government, CAMPO, which is Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, UT, and others, right? And this is, and why? So they could develop these demonstration sites. Dripping Springs, Elgin, Hutto, and Lockhart are demonstration sites. They're redesigning your activity centers. And you know what? These activity centers are all over the United States. You're not special. I know you know you're special. You are special because you're armed. Yeah, so I know that's not the only reason, but that's really a good one. So check it out. What did they say? Their optimal building height for this. Just think about downtown Elgin, right? Just think about it for a minute. Or think about Hutto. The optimal building height, 50 to 75 feet. What is that? That's like 3 to 6 stories, right? That's the optimal building height. So, all over the United States it's the same thing. You're visioning on somebody else's property. You're redesigning your downtown. Oh, it's so cool. On somebody else's property. And they're usually not there. You're coloring. You got your crayons. You got your poker chips. You're like, yeah, man. If you showed up at all, if you even knew about these visioning meetings, because you know what? They usually only tell the stakeholders, and you are not a stakeholder. Usually. Now, the decision makers, they go in, who's they? They is them. They is the feds, generally. And they go in years in advance. They identify people who are going to be going along with the plan, and then they bring them up. They actually empower them locally. They say, hey, have you thought about creating your own neighborhood association? And then those are the people who get the voice. Those are the people who are listened to. So here we go. It's right here in your town. There's 37 activity centers here, with the plan. The downtowns, sometimes it's the whole town. And what do they say they're doing in Sustainable Places Project? They are aligning planning and investment choices with community values. Yeah, they really know what the community values are, right? This is behavior modification. Behavior modification. In the Bay Area, where I'm from, the San Francisco Bay Area, we have the same exact thing, okay? And the pot is big. It's it's $200 billion. That's a lot of money over the next 25 years. And the cities that they're pulling into this, you're not getting any of that money if you don't agree to build smart growth. and you don't build it just where they tell you to, right? It's either do it or get no money. And think about this. Here's the same plan. Hanoi Capital Region Plan 2030. Hanoi, Vietnam. Same plan. Same plan. So this is what you see. These are huge construction projects. Don't forget, smart growth. These are big construction projects that are planned. This is smart growth, transit-oriented development, and they're using tax increment financing, redevelopment. They're using your transportation tax dollars, your property tax dollars, because this stuff doesn't pencil out, right? There's no demand for it. Yeah, maybe if you're, you don't even see it on South Congress, right? Not yet. But this is it. This is how it works. It's the public-private fantasy, right? Build it and they will come. The reality is, build it and the city goes bankrupt. That's the reality. And that's just fine with the American Planning Association. You know why? Because they say that we need to get ready for the new frugality. The new frugality. It's about accepting and embracing poverty. Right. The regional plans erase boundaries. It's one vision, no boundary, and they concentrate populations. And you'll see it as a partnership for sustainable communities. That's HUD, EPA, and DOT. Those are all on the President's Council on Sustainable Development. Tell me that Agenda 21 isn't in the United States. Go ahead, you tell me. This is what it looks like. The plans are all the same, and we pay over and over and over and over again for the same plan. Whether it's one Bay Area, or Plan ET for Tennessee, East Tennessee, or Granite State Future for New Hampshire, or Connect Northern New England, it's all the same plan. Right. It's the new urbanism, it's anti-rural. When I was in Maine giving this speech, I looked on the Maine Earth First website, right? They had a banner statement that said, visualize industrial collapse. That sounds so good, doesn't it? Let me visualize industrial collapse. Yeah, you get yourself a little tin cup and some pencils. Oh, no pencils, because that's industrial. Okay, so this is it. Smart growth is not just a design style, it's an ideology. That's what this is about. It's about creating regionalization. And this is really where it gets a lot worse, okay? It gets a lot worse. Because we have city, county, state, and fed, right? What do they all have in common? What do they all have in common? City, county, state, and fed.
The corrupt.
Yeah, but besides that. What else? They're elected. You elect them, right? Representative government, city, county, state, fed. Okay, check this out. Global, regional, neighborhood. What do they have in common? You don't elect them. They are not representative. Okay, not answerable to you. So, it gets a lot worse. You thought we had 50 states. No. We have 11 mega-regions. 11 mega-regions. Now this is not that the U.S. gets chopped up into 11 pieces. In fact, I brought the map. I know you can't see this. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you what it is. Check it out, though, if you can see it. You see there's some little colored, you see there's some little colored spots on the map. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay, those are the mega-regions. You see there's a whole bunch of gray. That's the rest of the country. That is not mega-regions, in mega-cities. These are mega-cities, huge cities. Now you are being told that unless you are part of a huge mega-region, you cannot compete. And of course not everyone is going to be able to get into these because you see where they are. There's the East Coast, the Great Lakes region, the Piedmont Atlantic region. The one in Florida, it has something in common with the Texas one because these are the only ones that are entirely in a single state. Because remember I told you, this is about breaking jurisdictional boundaries. So when it's in Texas, it breaks your jurisdictional boundaries for your cities and your counties. But most of these also break state line. And then the one, the Cascadia one, which is the Pacific Northwest, is partly in Canada. The one in Southern California is partly in Mexico. Breaking jurisdictional boundaries, mega regions. This is America2050.org. This is a project of the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Lincoln Institute, the Urban Land Institute, and this is real. This is not some fantasy. This is not some little thing that's not happening, because this is the goal. Now, you're in the Texas Triangle region. That's Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Austin, and Houston. 70% of Texans live in this area. It's 17 million people. 60,000 square miles. 101 counties. Think you're going to have some input there? This is about breaking your ability to have representative government. And it's being sold to you as an economic driver. It's like, hey, the one in Silicon Valley, they're like, hey, we're so cool. Yeah, let's see what they say here. They say the region amounts to the world's 13th largest economy. So this is it. This is what they're saying, is if you want to be the big gorilla on the block, you better drop this state thing. You better drop that city-county thing. You're a region. That's the goal. Now, who's not? Whose states are actually not within these regions? There's 11 of them, 11 states. They are in the wildlands. They're in the wildlands area. Now, I'm telling you something. This is all factual. I spent my career testifying. I'm an expert witness. And by the way, yes, eminent domain is abused horribly, but you couldn't have driven here without eminent domain. There is such a thing as public use, eminent domain for public use. And people need to be fairly compensated when their land is taken for a public use. But this plan is about the common good. It's all for the common good. Now that is not public use. Because why? Think about this. If you have any doubts about communitarian law, think about the Kelo decision, right? The 2005 Kelo decision that actually changed the definition of public use to anything that your government wants it to be. That's it. Now, the UN has a policy on land, and they say that land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset. It's controlled by individuals and subject to the pressures and inefficiencies of the market. You'll see this whole thing is about efficiency. What do you need a separate fire department for? How come you need a separate police department when you should be merged in a region with a central law enforcement, central medical, central education, all information shared? Information sharing is an essential part of this plan. So when you're looking at